A tragic death for a man who made a living on tragedy. James Le Mesurier spent his life doing what he believed in, which was remarkably similar to that what the British Foreign Office and NATO believe in, almost point for point. So, naturally, before anyone even knows how many bones were broken in his body after he fell from his apartment balcony, that they dogpile Russia. It's like an evolved limbic system. Fight, flight, or blame Russia.
Did Russia kill White Helmet's founder, James Le Mesurier?
Co-founder of White Helmets found dead days after Russia claimed he was a spy.
Did Russia drive hero British aid boss to his death?
Le Mesurier's crowning achievement was undoubtedly the creation of the White Helmets, politically charged rescuers who went to battle alongside Islamist terrorists. Even Al-Qaeda's wing in Syria called them brothers. You know the phrase, you want to know how a man lived his life? Look at who his friends were. And they were relentless, pro-government propagandists, bent on censoring everything they don't agree with.
133,612 edits to Wikipedia have been made in the name of Philip Cross over 14 years. That's over 30 edits per day, 7 days a week. And I do not use that figuratively. Wikipedia edits are timed, and if you plot them, the time card for Philip Cross's Wikipedia activity is astonishing if it is one individual.
Before a day had passed since Le Mesurier's death, his friends began scrubbing his Wikipedia page, the history of his life of all controversy, whitewashing his biography. Philip Cross, the busy bee that he is, really went to town, making James's Wikipedia page all nice and pretty. You read it now, he was a saint.
The Times reported that the Le Mesurier was the subject of an intense black propaganda campaign for years by pro-Assad activists and Russian diplomats. The New York Times reported that the group and Le Mesurier were the target of unfounded conspiracy theories.
When he isn't rewriting history 24/7, go figure, Philip likes to watch television, all sorts of channels, and then go and malign or try to discredit anyone he doesn't agree with, such as government critics, anti-war activists, and people who don't believe that the world is black and white.
If you peruse the added history on the Wikipedia page on Ken Livingstone, you will also find the smudged fingerprints of that Mr. Cross.
Clearly, if Wikipedia allows a person who reveals their political agenda, see attached, to edit pages, there is a huge problem. This is clearly visible on my entry, which has been overwhelmingly edited by Cross and which is clearly unbalanced.
Of course, a much more probable explanation is that Philip Cross is a group of individuals paid to further the interests of the British government and malign anyone that criticizes it or its policies. They have no problem smearing and degrading others, yet Philip or Philips are shy. See, they're fine with doing it to others, but talking about them is a no-no. Back in 2018, someone wrote an article about Philip Cross, and for his troubles, the article was deleted and the author was banned for life. For this.
Philip Cross dedicates considerable effort to editing Wikipedia entries for well-known British anti-establishment journalists, bloggers, authors and academics. Philip Cross may be a pseudonym for a group of like-minded individuals acting in concert.
There are reasons teachers tell students never to use Wikipedia as a source. Philip Cross is one of those reasons.
Shalom. Kol haloyam yahawah bahasham quadash, which is all praise and glory to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, in the name of His only begotten Son, which is yahawashi, in the name of the Holy Spirit of Truth for quadash. And I want to say tawada, or thank you to Yahawah for gifting us with this Holy Spirit of Truth for quadash. Double honors go out to the apostles of the Great Millstone and the elders who ruled the Bayafta Wadah, the house of David well. Citations to you Akim out there laboring on the four corners of this planet Earth. And to you believers, all right, you Israelites who believe this report. Shalom. Prophecy update, all right, going into Revelation, the 17th chapter. The scripture says that, matter of fact, before I get into this article, let me get this scripture first. Shalakia. This is Isaiah 62, okay, because the Lord set out watchmen, all right, to watch out for the prophecies as they begin to come to pass, all right, which these prophecies, all right, since we're living in the very last minutes of Esau Edom's rulership in the earth, right, these prophecies are speaking loud and clear, and the Lord set up watchmen, okay, to look out, man, and to warn his people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, natives, Israelite foreigners, of impending judgment, man, of doom, of destruction, all right? And that's what's coming, man, to Babylon the Great and other parts of this earth, destruction. Isaiah 62:6, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, all right? And that's talking about, again, the people of the Lord, all right? Not the physical city, okay? And anyways, right now in the city of Jerusalem, okay, the bastards of Ashdod are there, man, okay? Zechariah 9:6. So this is talking about the people of the Most High. All right, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye them, and that's the time we're in right now, not holding our peace. All right, day and night videos are going up. Even though YouTube, as Joachim are well aware of by now, you know, YouTube, they're changing some of their policies and their guidelines, and we understand our channels are going to be gone soon. But day and night, you know, every waking second of every day, videos are going up, man. The men of the Lord prophesying, all right? It says, which shall never hold their peace day nor night, ye that make mention of the Lord, yahawashi, keep not silence. And that's what's going on, man, all right? We aren't in the time for silence right now, okay? We aren't in the time for silence right now. That famine of the word is going to hit soon, though, Amos 8:11, all right? But we're the watchmen, beginning with the elder apostles of the great millstone, watching out, man, blowing the trumpet. And get into this article, because this is right out of Revelation 17, because Edom and Gomer are at odds right now, man. Gomer being Turkey, all right, Edom, a.k.a. America, all right. There you see DJ Trump flashing his Masonic pyramid gesture. These so-called politicians, they're all in cahoots together. They're all working for the banksters, the Jewish International Bankers, Amalek, all right. So, but you know, there's gonna be something's gonna go down, all right, to where America's allies, okay, NATO, which Turkey or Gomer is a NATO member, all right, they're gonna turn on America, the whore, okay. And right now you see this off of the Associated Press website. There's strained relations, to say the least, between Edom and Gomer, all right. Now, again, this is off of APnews.com. Today is November 13, 2019, year of Karagma. Strain U.S.-Turkey ties as Trump and Erdogan hold meeting. President Donald Trump and Turkey's leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan met Wednesday as relations between the NATO allies have fallen to their lowest point in decades, with Turkey drifting closer to Russia and facing a Washington backlash over its military offensive against the Kurds in Syria. And that's it, man, because Turkey's going to, along with these other nations, along with these other rising international powers, they're going to align with Gog and Magog, okay? They're going to align with Gog and Magog, and they're all going to come against this whore, man, against Babylon the Great, aka America. It's Bible prophecy, man. It says Erdogan and Trump had a difficult agenda for their talks. Turkey's decision to buy a Russian air defense system, and that's that AS-400 missile defense system Russia's been deploying all over the globe, man. They've deployed it to South Africa. They deployed it to Venezuela, okay, India, and Turkey, and other countries too, all right? Because, again, these nations, man, they're all gonna come against America. Everybody that has a nuke is going to point it at America, all right? That's what's getting ready to happen, man. All right? While you Jakes are out here making your Thanksgiving travel arrangements, planning for Christmas and New Year's Eve. All right? The nations of this earth are aligning, all right, with Gog and Magog, aka Russia, okay, because they're gonna come against this place during World War III. It says Erdogan and Trump had a difficult agenda for their talks. Turkey's decision to buy a Russian air defense system despite Turkey's membership in NATO and its incursion into neighboring Syria to attack Kurdish forces that have fought with the U.S. against the Islamic State group, which the Islamic State, ISIS, stands for Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. It's all these are all proxies for Amalek. All right, ISIS, ISIL, Hezbollah, okay, Hamas. They're all proxies for Amalek. Okay, set up, financed by Lord Rothschild himself, Lord Rockefeller himself. All right. But yeah, and this too is probably what's going on in Syria, man, because Isaiah 17:1 says Damascus shall be a ruinous heap. So World War III is going down right now in Syria. Okay, it just hasn't spread globally yet. But there's plenty of fighting throughout this earth as we speak, as I do this video. Despite those disputes, Trump said the two countries were poised to increase U.S. goods and services trade with Turkey, which totaled about $24 billion in 2017. Quote, "We're going to be expanding," end quote, Trump said. Quote, "We think we can bring trade up very quickly to about $100 billion between our countries," end quote. The leaders' scheduled afternoon news conference following a meeting with Republican lawmakers at the White House would give Trump a stage to counter the first public hearings in the House impeachment inquiry. All right, and again, I say it a lot. That's just a sideshow. All right, that's just to keep you distracted over here in Babylon the Great from what's really happening in the earth, the really important issues like World War III, for example. These so-called impeachment inquiry and these hearings are a joke, a farce. Okay, a farce. It's just distraction, man. They're distracting you. All right. Sitting in the Oval Office with Erdogan, Trump said he was too busy to watch the televised hearing on the inquiry, which he called a, quote, hoax, end quote. Trump defended his decision to invite Erdogan despite Turkey's widely denounced advance into Syria. He said that he and Turkey's president had been, quote, very good friends, end quote, for a long time and understand each other's country. That's bullshit. It doesn't matter, okay, what kind of talks these two leaders have, all right? Revelation 17 is going to come to pass. All right? Revelation 17 is going to come to pass. Matter of fact, that reminds me of another quick scripture before I get that. Let's go to Salakia. Bear with me. I should have wrote this down. It's not Ezekiel 3. There's a scripture I'm looking for. Let me just type it in real quick. Salakia. And then I'll get Revelation 17. Yeah. Salakia. It was Ezekiel, but it was the 33rd chapter. All right. You people are getting ready to realize, you Jakes in particular, are getting ready to realize prophets were in your midst, man. Blowing the trumpet, trying to warn you. All right. And in that day, the day that Jacob's trouble comes to pass, the day of the Lord's judgment, the day of Yahawah's judgment, when it comes to pass, when all hell breaks loose, you're going to realize it. It's going to be too late then. Ezekiel 33 and 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. That's right. You're going to know that a prophet's been among you in your midst. Okay. When this comes to pass, man. All right. You got Salaki, you got gun confiscation drills being run in Queens, New York. You know, Homeland Security sending out armored military vehicles in Queens. Okay. So they're beta testing door-to-door gun confiscation, and rounding up you jakes, man. That's coming. All that's part of the day of the Lord, man. Let's go to Revelation, though, and end this. Just a quick prophecy update. Revelation 17. And get right to the point. Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast. And who's the beast? The beast is NATO. Okay? Again, Gomer, Turkey. Members of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, says, these shall hate the whore being America. It shall make her desolate and naked. It shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So they're gonna have a hand in destroying this whore's economy and burning her with fire. How do you burn a whole country with fire? A whole landmass as big as Babylon the Great with fire? You send nukes, man. And that's what's coming. The nukes are coming, man. And it's all the will of the Heavenly Father, yahawah, yahawashi, at the end of the day. Verse 17, for the Most High Yahawah put in their hearts to fulfill His will and to agree. So see all these leaders who are at odds right now, Putin, Assad, Erdogan, Merkel in Germany, Macron in France, all these leaders who are at odds from time to time with one another, they're gonna agree, man. They're gonna agree to shoot their arrows at Babylon, because it's the will of the Heavenly Father, and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High House shall be fulfilled. That's right, man. That's the time we're in. Edom and Gomer at odds. Bible prophecy. World War III is coming. All right, repent. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. With that, I want to say shalom.
Early on November 11th, an Israeli missile strike hit a residential building in Mesa area in Damascus. According to Syrian sources, Israeli warplanes launched 3 missiles. One of them was intercepted, the rest reached the target. Pro-Israeli sources claim that the strikes were aimed at Akram al-Ajuri, a commander in the Palestinian armed group Islamic Jihad. Local sources say that 2 civilians were killed and 10 others were wounded in the attack. However, al-Ajuri reportedly survived. At the same time, Israeli forces conducted a series of strikes on the Gaza Strip, allegedly eliminating Baha Abu al-Atha, the key commander in the Islamic Jihad. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the operation was carried out jointly by the Israeli Defense Forces and the Shin Bet Israeli Security Agency. Supporters of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, continue their attempts to sabotage the shaky ceasefire imposed in northeastern Syria in the framework of the Turkish-Russian agreement. The agreement allowed to limit the Turkish operation area, stop the Turkish push towards Kobani, and prevent a further escalation in the region. Nonetheless, clashes between Turkish-backed forces and Kurdish rebels, sometimes supported by the Syrian army, continued near Ras al-Ain. However, some forces seem to be unsatisfied by this. According to media reports, on November 12th, pro-SDF rioters temporarily blocked the joint Russian-Turkish patrol. Reports also indicate that at least 1 rioter was injured by actions of Turkish forces. Details of this incident are yet to be revealed. Actions of the SDF supporters endanger the shaky ceasefire established near Kobani, and in the worst-case scenario, may lead to a resumption of large-scale military actions there. The White Helmet's co-founder and former MI6 operative, James Le Mesurier, was found dead near his home in the Boyoglu district of the Turkish city of Istanbul on November 11th. He was found with fractures to his head and legs, Turkish media say, and is believed to have fallen from his balcony. Le Mesurier received the Order of the British Empire from the British Queen in 2016. According to media reports, before his death, the MI6 operative was experiencing severe stress and was taking psychotropic drugs, including injections. The White Helmet's rescue organization, notorious for its cooperation with al-Qaeda-linked militant groups and the involvement in chemical provocations in Syria. Some mainstream media outlets already speculated that the evil Russians may have been behind the death of the MI6 agent that was voluntarily assisting al-Qaeda-linked militant groups to create a public image of the victims under the heel of the ruthless Assad regime. However, if the British intelligence officer was in fact assassinated, the more realistic version is that powers that have for years supported the regime change agenda and terrorists in Syria are now trying to cover the traces of their actions.
Shalom, first and foremost, like to give all praise to yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Barak the yahawah, barak the yahawashi, bahasham, quadash, barak atham. So, taking advantage of the, computer that I still have here as I'm about to head into the underground in the next few weeks, but I will still be making videos using the selfie stick, just be inside of cars or wherever else. I'm going to try Screencast-O-Matic Mobile, because they now have an app for it on the Android, so I'm going to see how that works, and hopefully maybe I can just, if anything else, do like a lot of other brothers do, just read from the scriptures using that app, and you'll still hear my voice on it. Nonetheless, though, the famine of the word is around the corner. As you know, the White Helmet's leader, because of the fact that, okay, they're just trying to cover up all the fabrication of lies, because, of course, the civil war in Syria is just about over with now, because Gomer and Magog have brokered a deal, and what's happening is the Kurds and the Syrian Democratic Forces are now starting to side with the Syrian Arab Army, as the Syrian Arab Army are the only ones that can protect the Kurds and the Syrian Democratic Forces. Pretty much, Bashar al-Assad said, you got to watch who you're allied with, know who your alliances are with. The Syrian Arab Army are the only ones that care about you and that will not exploit you. And you see, that's what the United States always does. So, of course, the United States turned tail, went back to Iraq, but they didn't really go back to Iraq. What they did, though, is they repositioned their armaments and moved into the Syrian oil fields, to steal it from the government forces. Because, of course, they want the oil for themselves. And that's what it was really all about, stealing resources from Syria. Well, you have the famine of the word that's coming around the corner. New guidelines. I mean, you try to upload a video, and it asks you a trick question. Well, it's not really that tricky. Is your video suitable for children? Well, quite simply put, no. No, this is not suitable for children. Duh. This ain't no fucking Bugs Bunny cartoons. This ain't no fucking, Mickey Mouse, man. This is real shit that's going on, and the only time that children should be watching these videos anyways is under the supervision of an adult, that is someone who's in this faith. Of course, brothers be watching videos like this with their children and explaining things, but that's on there, and so if they could get you under that, then they'll find reasons to take videos off, older videos. It's usually how they strike a channel or to get their channels removed is by giving you strikes on older videos that have already gone up 6 to 8 months ago, sometimes 3 or 4 years ago. Things that didn't even matter. Or they'll play the copyright game, that you use copyrighted material. I had that happen with the Toys R Us video, a guy had went in there, and it viewed the store closing sales, and well, I did use this video, but that's neither here or there. Didn't take from it or try to say that that was mine. Everybody knows that that's not me walking around in the store closing thing, because Toys R Us went out in Reading years ago. Nonetheless, though, you have that going on, but the fires are being used now, and you can see it's happening even in Queensland and New South Wales. Pretty much Esau's getting scorched with fire, whether that be HARP and the other programs, which I am a strong believer that HARP is being used, as well as, the Rothschild plan. But you see, who puts these evil thoughts into the Rothschilds? Who puts these evil thoughts into Esau? Well, it's the Most High mustering them up. He's mustering up the hosts for battle. And of course, this battle goes with locking down the general public, because of course, countries at war, and there's more lying, cheating, and stealing, and he's giving them that evil desire to go covet some more. That's why they're coveting the Syrian oil fields. But you see, all these nations we're partakers in the taking down of us. As another brother had put it, though, yes, it's true that Esau is not held accountable for the law of Moses or any of those laws that were given to us Israelites. However, though, he is accountable for bigger laws. He had special laws that he was supposed to follow. Do not touch my anointed. And Esau, you can see, did that. So no, he doesn't keep to the laws that were given to him. That's why he's called the man of sin, the lawless one. Because, of course, he doesn't obey any laws. But he was put there for a reason, because of the fact that we went after strange gods. We went after strange philosophies. And so the greatest of these has been Esau Edom, because of the fact that, that's all Esau Edom does, is he takes credit for what others have done, and he molds all the religions into one. I once heard an Arab say this: I'm a believer in all religions. I believe they all come in one place. Yeah, they do. Confusion. And what do you think the name of this place is? What do you think Babylon means? Confusion. The place of confusion, So, we're just seeing the end all results of it, Christianity, their version of Christianity is definitely this so-called Jesus loves everyone, but yet they've never shown it. Man, whenever we started getting things going for ourselves, man, these Christians will be the first to come out and say, you fucking nigger, and they'll fucking go off on us. And you start to see the horns of Esau, the moment we get rights, or the moment that, a ward has been in our favor, especially if a good judgment actually happens in a court ruling or whatever, and we either get acquitted. I mean, look at the way fucking Esau acted when they acquitted O.J. Simpson. Well, they had to bring up on new charges. A civil suit was brought against O.J. Simpson, even though he was found not guilty in a court of law. But you see, that's just it. Man, they can't even let us have that victory. Because, you see, we're not going to have that victory. Nope. Even if it's a short victory or whatever, Esau's going to find some way to steal it. Because he covets this. He covets everything, And that's just it, though, is that his covetry, it's the most high mustering them up. It's the most high mustering up the hosts to battle. So while you got one side of Esau, putting pressures and sanctions on others, and you got Magog, flip side of Esau, come in and say, hey, I think we can do good business together, and hey, I'll protect you from any pressure from the West. So Gomer, pretty much, they're done. They're fucking done with Babylon, the king of Babylon. They're sick of him. Erdogan and Donald J. Trump, they're not in any agreement. Erdogan likes Vladimir Putin much better. Because, you see, that's just it, though. The Most High had guided these leaders, as to where they're going to be set up. And the prophecy says that Gomer was going to be on the side of Magog. And you can see that happening, Not to mention, Vladimir Putin is a much better negotiator. Hey, yeah, let's go ahead and make deals, Yeah, I want to prosper, I think we could do good business together, Sounds like a pretty good deal. And hey, no pressure from the West. We'll protect you. We'll give you S-400 systems, S-500s, whatever you want. We just want to be able to do a legitimate exchange. And you see, this is bring down the petrodollar, the hegemony that America has always had. You see, because pretty much Babylon is being replaced by Magog. Magog is now being a guard unto all these places. We've been seeing this happening for some time. So with Magog coming and being a guard unto them and actually, getting them back to a restored state and being prosperous, well, that there's going to be wars about that. And that's why you're seeing all the wars going off. And in the meantime, over here, they got to do something to lock the people down. They got to do more false flags, more drills, Queens is not going to be the only place that they're confiscating the weapons. They're going to create more mass hysteria. And hey, just because the founder of the White Helmets is dead doesn't mean that his, as they call it, legacy is dead. Nah, they'll find someone else to doctor up shit. They always do, to falsify evidence. And not to mention, he just started that. He just... The White Helmets, though, the whole thing is that it's without a trace now. Now, they're just covering their ass, because everybody knows. Everybody fucking knows. But some people just got to hear it from the horse's mouth. Well, dead men tell no tales. And that's what's happened there. But these rules and regulations, though, of YouTube, the guidelines and all that, yeah, it's all smokescreen because, of course, the famine of the word is coming. That means, as Brother Malcolm has put it, which I'm forwarding his video, a very edifying video, pretty much, we're tired of talking to a brick wall. We go out there on the streets, man, and we're pretty much talking to a brick wall. We know that who we're really talking to is those that click on our videos. The people in our streets and in our cities, man, they're all dead. They're dead already, man. They've been in a dead state, There's very few that are joined unto us. And, as I see in this, me, my family, that may just be the only one safe from the city. But one man's worth 1,000, So, I definitely want to be part of those prizes that are collected. Because that's just it, though. Yahawashi died for his prizes. That is the redeemed, the ones that he did die for. And we just want to be in that number. Because when we come marching in, we are going to put a hurt on all of these that were partakers in this. The Most High is already putting a hurt on them. That's why Syria is always in the news. That's why all these other nations are always in the news. Of course, because the hammer of the whole earth is now coming upon them. And, of course, Magog's being a guard unto them. But this is going to break out in the third woe. It's coming really quickly. And the most that we can do right now is pray that we be found worthy to escape. And pray that the Most High guide us. As I'm about to go to the underground, pretty much going to be not going to have a home, but going to be doing videos otherwise. Just pray for me that I find a place, that this time passes, so I can do this. But if need be so, we were all going to have to go underground eventually anyways, But the Most High be with us. That's the most that you could pray for me right there, is that the Most High be with me and be with others that are speaking this truth. Because that's one common thing that we have. We all speak in one accord, just like Acts chapter 2. That's what we're doing now. So we come in the same accordance. Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, quadash. And we're all saying the same thing. Wa abba babal. And brakatham Yehovah elect. Hope that these videos are edifying. Shalom. Until the next one, as Apostle Tahar will tell you. Until the next one. Until we can no longer do this. Shalom.
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, call Lord Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, quadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who led and taught us this truth. Peace and blessings to you, Akim, that's out there, that's part of the Bayasha that would die, that was forbidden. Alright, just coming real quick, man, through the spirit. Some little, commentary stuff. Well, not commentary, but through the spirit, this YouTube shutdown thing, man. Look, check this out. So earlier I uploaded this video, Esau is hiding. And this video right here, the brother, I think Kalal put up, on the live streams, you can't say Edomite no more, right? You brothers should go check it out. Now, check this out, though. So, this is what these devils is doing. So, the brother had put up a video yesterday. Well, I put up a couple. And the brother Kazan put up a couple. I re-uploaded. And that's how we know that this devil again with the YouTube, he's about to shut it down, the famine of the word. All right. So you know what? Before I even, let me get this scripture real quick through the Spirit. You know, this scripture keeps coming out, Amos 8 and 11. So I believe through the Spirit that you know that the famine of the word is coming. All right. So this is Amos 8 and 11. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, saith Yahawah of power, that I will send a famine in the land, but not of a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahawah. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahawah, and shall not find it. In that day shall the fair virgins and the young men men faint for thirst." So Yahawah's agenda is to shut this thing down, man. You know, we ain't even gotta necessarily be off the street corners. People can see us on the street corners. You know, on the tube. This is the main avenue that the word is getting pushed out on. So let me show y'all this real quick through the Spirit. So when you look at the videos, right, when you click on them, they have more views than you think. So let's go to this one. It says 7 views right there, with 22 views right here. And this is on the page. Then this one says no views. It says 4. This one says 1 view, but it's 13. Now, when you go to upload a video, this is the new thing that they have. Right? So I'm not going to upload the video, but I'm going to just show Akim through the Spirit. You're legally required to comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act and our other laws. You are required to tell us if your videos are made for kids. Use the YouTube Studio app, which is retarded because these degenerate ass kids, man, look, man, come on. These degenerate ass kids don't watch no kid stuff anyway. So it says, I'm gonna read. It says, now I have to go download this YouTube thing and then do, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is, man, this devil is crazy. It says, as a YouTube creator, you are required to set future and existing videos as made for kids or not. Even creators who don't make content for kids need to set their audience. This will help ensure that we offer the appropriate features on your content. Now, why does that even matter? To help you comply, we are introducing a new audience setting on YouTube Studio. You can set your audience. So now I have to download YouTube Studio. If I'm reading it right, I think I am through the Spirit. I have to download YouTube Studio, go and set some stuff, and then if it's not, it's probably most likely if it's not children appropriate, then anybody that watches our videos, they have to be 18 or older. Be not ignorant of Satan's devices, man. Y'all brothers, check that out, yo. This famine, the famine of the word, is fastly approaching. Let me get this real quick. Salakia. Damn. Of course. Bear with me.
Sorry, darling. Well done on being the new soloist, by the way. When I was your age, I played the bongos. Hours and hours slapping those skins.
This word, man.
Anyway, see you at the parade.
This we here, man. That's all there's really to say. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Now you look this word devices up. Right? A mental perception, thought, evil purpose. That which thinks, the mind, thoughts, or purposes. So this YouTube shutdown, or this thing that they're doing for the YouTube, that's an evil purpose. the adversary's devices, man. But with that, I'm going to say shalom.
Shalom. Call hello, yahawah, bahasham, quadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers, the atham that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. To the scattered elect that be among the other nations, that be like unto the speckled bird. And to the yahawah that are listening and learning. To you I say shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson. Just watched a video that was in orders, in our camp group me in the orders room, and basically it's about the demonetization of videos and how YouTube, along with Google, because YouTube used to be about you. That's why it was called YouTube. It gave you a platform for the individual to to put up content for themselves for entertainment or educational purposes. And now the big corporate has taken over. And what really has happened is that YouTube has become a major vehicle for news and information, which I don't think they really anticipated. All right. But with these laws, what they're doing, they're using this very broad language as to why they can control or why they can delete or control someone's channel. All right, which is just all just Esau being wicked, man. Matter of fact, let's get a scripture, because what this is really about is about them trying to silence the words of Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, and his prophets, man. This is Sirach 5:15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or in a small. So that really is talking about having knowledge and understanding, but also being aware of what the devil is doing, man, or what he is doing. All right. As a matter of fact, let me get Corinthians. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11, and it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, man. So this is yet another device to bring on the famine of the word, which is a good thing, because the famine of the word means we're that much closer to getting out of here, man. So quite frankly, I'm tired of talking to a wall. All right, there's a building on the side of me. What is it called? Christian Brothers Dairy and Company. Well, it sure is not that anymore. But yeah, business on a residential street. I just pulled over to do this lesson. But nevertheless, it's like talking to a damn brick wall, man. Talking to some of you Jake and a lot of you heathens too. All right, because we're the prophets to the heathen as well, to let them know what their judgment is. All right, we're supposed to let all. That's why it says go out on the highways and byways in the chief concourse, because you're not just supposed to tell Jake, you're supposed to also tell the heathen, man. And now they should be happy, because the heathen been running around thinking that you're all these names that Esau has labeled you, and now we've given you the truth about who you are, man. All right. Another word of language that they were using, going back to this video control thing, was it's not suitable for advertisement. Well, that's what it's all about, because Esau's always all about that buck, making that those few dollars, man. He's all about making that cold hard cash. All right, and of course, you turn on the apostles, you turn on the brothers, you turn on their videos, man, and the truth stings and it hurts. And they won't be able to advertise on it, because in that way, because they don't want to advertise on it, because they don't want the truth spread. All right, grab another scripture, man. This is Matthew. Let's see better without the damn glasses. Matthew 5:37, because they're not being clear, man. You know, Esau's being very vague, like I said, broad with his verbiage that he uses to describe why he's doing this. But this reads, Matthew 5:37 says, "But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever more is more than these cometh evil." So there it is, man. So Esau's always saying, well, this, but. He's always throwing that word but in there. You know? Because he can't give you a clear, concise answer on almost anything. He always talks in circles, you know. It's just like what's that damn castle out in California? Damn, this fool going the wrong way on the one-way street. It's a damn woman. Now I can't remember the damn name of the damn castle, but it's near Santa Cruz. It was a very famous castle, and it was, you know, some rich eccentric Edomites built it, and it has a bunch of staircases and doorways that go nowhere. The Hertz Castle, I believe it's called. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Hertz Castle. Got a bunch of doors and stairways that lead nowhere, man, and that's how Esau is. All right, when he creates that legal web and paperwork, using all them damn UCC codes and just to entangle people and confuse people, man, instead of letting his nay be nay and his yea be yea. Because all he's doing is prescribing mischief and evil, man. Matter of fact, let's get that. That's in Psalms 94 and 20, I believe. Yeah, Psalms 94 and 20, and it reads, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law?" And Esau just frameth mischief by law because why? He's just a liar, man. He's just a liar. In fact, let me check another quick precept. Yeah, this is Psalms 58 and 2. It says, yeah, in heart ye work wickedness. Ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. So yeah, that's E. That's E all day. All right, because that policy bringeth forth violence and confusion, man. All right, order ab chaos. It's even written on their money and on a lot of their legal status. Order out of chaos. They create chaos in order to bring what they say is order, man. All right, there is no order, man. All right, so these corporate interests are not in harmony. If you speak anything that's not in harmony with corporate interests, man, that's not in harmony with the status quo, then they don't want to deal with you, man. And basically the men of the Lord, we speak contrary to them, and because they're clean contrary to the Lord, man. Matter of fact, let's get that in the Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 12. Therefore let us lie and wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. And what we're speaking of is our turn, which is prescribed, which is the words of the Most High Power, man. We're speaking of our turn. All right. He upbraideth us with our offending of the law. Upbraideth meaning like he curses at us. All right. You know how when the Lord said he began to upbraid the crowd, he began to curse them out, man. All right. He upbraided us with our offending of the law, and Salaki, I read that wrong. He upbraided us with our offending of the law. We're cursing them out. All right. And object to our infamy and transgressions of our education, man. Okay, because Esau is clean contrary to this Bible, man, and he teaches opposite, his own education, his own ways, which are contrary to this Bible, man, to this book. All right, let me read one more scripture, man. Let me shut this down. right? Because this is Job 5 and 12. Because Esau's not going to achieve what he's going to do, because the Lord is going to shut it all down, man. So I personally, like I said, quite frankly, man, I'm ready for this to happen yesterday. You know, the Lord can't come fast enough. This thing can't fall fast enough, man. And it's falling. He said, though it tarry, wait for it. It's happening. But, you know, this needs to happen yesterday, man. You know, the saints are worn out. With vexed like Lot, have to endure such horrible wickedness on a daily basis. Everything being out of order on a daily basis. But, you know, it's all good, because the Lord is going to upset Esau's ways, man. He's going to stop him in his tracks. This is Job 5 and 12. And it reads, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. So go ahead and shut down my channel and all the channels, man. All right. We're looking forward to what comes next, E. You're not. Call halal yahawah bahasham quadash wa abababal.
All right, shalom. First and foremost, all praises, honor, and glory to yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, quadash. Just make sure everything's all right. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, and salutation to you brothers doing this thing in sincerity, in truth, and with charity. And hey, this is just you know, it's going to be to the point, man. The Lord willing, going to title it like a message concerning those who offend us or wrong us. You know, something along those lines, man. And that's from the heathens that fucked us over to, you know, that got us in captivity, to, you know, even people that's supposed to be of our own nation, man. And that's big things and little things, man. And we're going to hit on that, man. All right, that's big things and little things, man. Hey, remember, hey, the Lord sent she bears. I'm just get it, man. For calling a man bald head, man. Hey, you may think what you did was nothing. All right, but guess what? In fact, I'm gonna get this first. This is I got the brother Shakal with me, you know, and this the brother Ratazawanya. This is Exodus, and whatever you want points, you know, bring them out, brother. I'll read it for you. I know you're driving. We all in Shapai. This is Exodus 11 and 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So you can't speak against an Israelite or not even against the Israelites' animal, man. The Lord takes offense to that, man. All right. You think you just talking shit against regular men? Now these are the holy men of the Lord, man. That's why Sirach 7 it says, fear Yahawah and reverence his priest. Okay. And guess what? 2/3 of our people are counted as dogs right now, man. All right. And King David said he was as a beast. All right. So when you're not in this truth, man, you're a beast. Okay. This is the 2 Kings 2. And I get to the point 22. So the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha, which he spake. And he went up from this unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him, and said unto him, go up thou bald head, go up thou bald head. So you know, you think that's something light, you know, in this world, people gun each other or Jones on each other, talk shit on each other. Hey, but the Lord, let's see how the Lord felt about that. Let's see how he felt about it, and then let's see how the Lord took it, man. And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of Yahawah. So he was vexed at it, man, how they mocked him and talked about a bald head. All right. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tear 40 and 2 children of them. So the Lord sent 2 bears to kill these little motherfuckers, man, for simply, and and I say this in natural terms, simply calling a man bald head. Then that man was offended. He expressed that he was offended, and the Lord had them little motherfuckers mauled, man. So really consider you really consider how you treat and what you say to the men of the Lord. All right. Really consider, man.
Right. It's like today, like if if a little kid will call you a name and then you slap him, everybody will be, oh, that wasn't necessary. He's a little kid. You should have let him be. Like, nah, the scriptures are telling you otherwise.
That's right.
You know? And the Lord didn't slap the kid. He killed them. It says, what, they teared them in pieces?
Come.
You know?
42 of them, man. 42. So this is one of the small examples, man, of something that was, what we was, in this day and age, what people would say was like, they called him bald head, right? But the Lord said, nah, he offended one of my servants. Now I'm offended. And they got put to death for that, man. All right? Gotcha. This is Matthew 12:36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. All right? So, hey, your words matter, man. You think you just talking shit against some men? Hell no, man. These are the holy men of the Lord. All right? Low estate, sure enough. All right? Flaws and all, sure enough. Who the fuck are you to say anything about it? The Lord put us down here, man. All right? And we fighting for the kingdom. Hell, we fighting even for you to get the kingdom. Go up there, bald head, man. The fuck? This is Matthew 18. And, it's like, let me find the verse for you, up. I'll read it. You break it down, brother. You call for it. This is Matthew 18 and three. I'm gonna start at 1. At the same time came the disciples unto yahawashi, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Yahawashi called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them and said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whoso therefore shall humble himself as his little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little whoso shall receive one such little child in my name, receiveth me. So the Lord sent this man, his servants, in his name, man. All right, and if you're speaking against them, you're speaking against, yahawashi. Verse 6. Whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea.
Hey, so that's he's saying that's better for you to go through that than to offend one of these little ones, man. And to be cast, just imagine that, a millstone hanged around your neck and just get thrown in the sea. That's a horrible way to die, man. Slowly, suffocating. Water's going into your lungs. That's better than offending one of his little ones, man. Yep.
And you can research, how people talk about how it feels when you die. If I'm not mistaken, they said it feel like your chest is on fire too from breathing in that water when you're drowning and shit. Man, that's some horrible shit to go through. And then the mental part of it, you're helpless because you got a millstone on your neck. You can't swim up. You can't swim nowhere. You just got to fucking deal with it. And the panic. And it says it's better to do that than offend one of his servants, man. And that can be this. You can say it the slightest thing, man. You can call one of them in the Lord bald head. All right. The Lord ain't playing, man. Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come, but woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. So it's necessary that offenses happen. It's gonna happen. We said it. We hear that we gonna suffer. All right, but whoever caused that offense, man, woe unto him. All right. Hey, the Lord is gonna avenge us, Akim. Better believe it. Is this yeah, something else? This 2 Thessalonians 1 and 4. So that we ourselves 2 Thessalonians 1 and 3. We are bound to thank Yahawah always for you, brethren, as it is meet, as it is good, okay? Because that your faith groweth exceedingly, and the charity of every one of you all toward each other abounded. So that we ourselves glory in you in the churches of the Most High for your patience and faith and all your persecutions and tribulations that ye endure, which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of the Most High, that ye may be counted worthy of the kingdom of the Most High, for which ye also suffered. So we're going to go through things, man. Like it says, the fences must come. All right? This makes us get counted worthy for the kingdom. Yahawashi suffered for the kingdom. All right? And he suffered wrongfully. More wrong than we can ever suffer for, because he was 100. All right? But we going to suffer, right? But what did it say next, man? Saying it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. So the Lord is going to recompense them, man. All right? From Esau, Edom, that's fucking us up. All right, and to the heathens that's with them, beating our ass. The heathens been the dogs that licked our wound after Esau beat us. All right, to any motherfucker that mocked at us, talked shit, that scoffed. All right, there's gonna be judgments for that, man.
Hey, the nigger woman too, man.
Speak up a little bit slower.
The nigger woman too. You know, about making fun of brothers, trying to, basically choose, playing that choosing game. Hey, all that is gonna come upon everybody who made the men of the Lord feel some type of way, man. Hey, if that man is doing right and following yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi with all his heart, and you offend him, hey, the Lord, hey, he doesn't take kindly to that, man.
That's right.
He takes it in, man. He actually, what does it say? Hey, the Most High is not mine. For what a man sowed, that's what he shall reap.
This is Romans 8. Woo, this is Romans 8 and 31. What shall we then say to these things? If the Most High be for us, who can be against us? He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Yahawah sent his only begotten son, yahawashi, to be crucified, man, for his elect. For his elect men. Hey, yahawashi said what? Basically, I'm going to roughly paraphrase, this is rough, but yahawashi basically said that the men that he got, the Lord giveth him. He says, thou they were, and thou hast given me them. So the men of the Lord, the 144,000, all right, his servants, these men were handpicked by Yahawah. And Yahawah sent Yahawashi to come, Lord willing, when he elect, he sent him to come die for us. That shows how much the Lord loves us, man. He sent his son for us. Man.
What's 1 John, the 3rd chapter? What manner of love has the Most High bestowed upon us, by calling us his sons?
That's right. That's right, Khan. He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? So he didn't spare his own son for us, man. Okay? Who shall lay anything to the charge of the Most High's elect? It is the Most High that justifieth. Alright, so you can't lay anything to the Most High's elect, man. Alright, you mocking, scoffing, alright, talking shit, want to point out a brother's flaw. Hey, guess what? It's a judgment for that, man. Lest you repent. There's a judgment for that shit. Them little motherfuckers we read about in 2 Kings, what happened? The Lord had they ass mauled. So Esau, when he see this, finna get fucked up. Cause look what they got just for saying bald head. You heathens are toast, man. And like the brother said, you nigga women that scoff and be on that choosing shit. Hey, women that the brothers done dealt with, these bitches done talk shit. Alright? Hey, guess what? There's a judgment for that. Who the fuck are you to let anything to the Most High's elect, man?
Right, it says what? She that is mine enemy.
Huh?
She should be thrown down like a fire in the street.
I'm gonna grab that for you. Let me get this on deck so I don't forget it.
That day, everybody's gonna see, man, and everybody's gonna regret what they did, man. It says what? Touch not my anointing.
Speak up a little bit,
everybody's gonna regret what they did. The scriptures say what? Touch not my anointing.
That's right.
And do my prophets no harm.
Yep. This is Micah 7 and 10. I'm gonna start at 8. Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy, when I fall. I shall arise when I sit in darkness. Yahawah shall be a light unto me. So the Lord put us in a lower state, man. All right, and it said what? Don't rejoice over that. Talking shit, having a good time. Hey, what? Ezekiel 36. The heathen said, "Aha! You know, they captured us. They got our land. They got us. Lamentations say this the day they looked for. All right, Lord willing, I'm gonna grab that, man. I'm gonna grab it now and hold it, just so I don't forget it. Was it Lamentations, the first chapter? Yep. Okay. So this is back in that Micah 7. Thought the brother should call for. I would Micah 7 and 9. I will bear the indignation of Yahawah because I have sinned against him. Until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me, he will bring me forth to the light, and I shall behold his righteousness. Then she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is Yahawah thy power? My eyes shall behold her, now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets.
Right. Hey, well, once we get that glory, man, Lord willing, wear that number. Hey, these these bitches and these niggas, they're all gonna be amazed at the straightness of our salvation.
That's right.
You know, they're gonna be all like, oh shit, damn. They're gonna remember everything they did against us. They're gonna try to beg us. They're gonna try to make peace with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep. Hey, Psalms 18, it said they're gonna cry out to the Lord, and then He ain't gonna hear them.
Right.
You know. So they're gonna even cry out to the Lord. He ain't gonna hear them, man.
Hey, like they say in the world, hey, keep that same energy.
Yeah.
Why ain't you talking shit now?
Yep. Keep that same energy, con. Hey, it says we're gonna bear the indignation, so we got to deal with it right now, you know. But it said what? The Lord's gonna come and plead for us, man, and execute judgment for us. All right. Every offense that was caused against us, man. Every fucking idle word, man. There's a judgment for that, man. Cause look, we not coming in our own name. We come in the name of Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi. And we in the lowest state, and we suffer for the name of Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, man. First and foremost, we sinned, so we got to deal with it. All right. But look, Lord willing, with elect, we doing work of the Heavenly Father, man. Come out here and wake up our people. To hell with these heathens, man. They gonna do what they do, man. They set up to beat our ass right now. Then you got 2/3 of our people coming against us, man. And we all in the fucking lowest state. What the fuck is the unity at, man? We should be working together, god damn it. Alright? Coming together as the fucking nation. You got our own fucking people scoffing and mocking against us. Our own fucking supposed to be like what's that? Minister Society, we supposed to be brothers. They coming against us. Our own fucking bitches coming against us. To hell with you motherfuckers, man.
Hey, if you could get it, the one where it says that the angels behold the face of my Father.
Damn. Say from what the angels what? That's a good one.
Behold the face of my Father, or it says, be careful, do you not offend?
Oh, con. Okay, I got you in the Gospels. I know what you're talking about, Sly.
Because the angels are watching, man. They're watching, and what do they do? Everything that happens, they go back to the Father and they let him know. You know?
Oh, it's the same there in Matthew 18. Con. This is back in Matthew 18 and 10. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. Who are the little ones? His elect. He called his disciples and said, look, be as this child. He says, the flock of my pasture are men. This is talking about his elect servants, man. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. So, look, it said don't despise them. Hey, you better be careful despising the men of the Lord, man. For I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. Yeah, I read it over for you. I got you. I know you on the road, Doc. I got you. I read it over for you. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven.
Right. Hey, so the angels are always watching. Hey, so yeah, Yahawashi said, take heed, man, that you not despise, that you don't hate, that you don't offending, mocking, talking shit behind their back.
Yep. Looking down upon them, thinking they nothing. All right. Hey, the men of the Lord. Hey, the men of the Lord is greatly valued, man. Hey, in Revelation 3, it says, "By me gold tried in the furnace." To the Lord, the men of the Lord are his jewels, man. He said, I will make up my jewels. Yeah, goddamn. Damn, man, this is heavy, man. This is, oh, shit, okay. Yeah, I pulled that one up. Make sure I get, Lord, want to get that too. This is 1 Corinthians 2 and 15. But he that is spiritual judges all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. Who can lay anything to the charge of the elect, man? All right, if the Lord said, them that are born of him have no sin, then God damn it, that's what it is. All right, so we gotta look at the men of the Lord with the utmost, reverence, man. Plain and simple. All right, it's easy, and this flesh is easy to see, people flaws, especially when you're around them all the time. All right, what the fuck that means? The Lord, you look at the spirit, how the spirit of the Lord is dealing with them brothers, man. And then you would fucking really see this is a mighty brother, man. He battle, he fight through the spirit, strong in mind. All right. Hey, I'm gonna use this brother as an example, because he went through so much shit when we had them niggards around us, nigga riot. They used to get that brother you want in hell, talk all type of shit, down him, because he had, we in the flesh. He had whatever the fuck they was pointing out, man. When you look at that brother, man, the spirit, that brother's mighty in the spirit, man. Like, it's like whatever flaws they was talking about. Look at this brother. This brother raw as fuck. I think about that to this day. Like, this brother raw as fuck, man. So you gotta really just look at it with spiritual eyes, man. Hey, in fact, I got this scripture in Sirach. And I'm gonna hit a couple judgment precepts, and we can wrap it up, man. This Sirach 40. The fuck? That's not it, Salakia. Damn. All right, this is Sirach 11, need of help. This is Sirach 11 and 11. There was one that laboreth and taketh pains and maketh haste, and is so much the more behind. So you got some men, you got people that just to the visual, the carnal man, you on the just looking with carnal eyes, they doing this, doing that, like damn, this person, they this, they that. But it said, well, he's much more behind. Then it says again, there is one that is slow and that have need of help, wanting ability. So he lack ability and full of poverty. Talking about a man in low estate. Yet the eye of the Lord looked upon him for good and set him up from his low estate and lifted up his head from misery, so that many that saw it marveled at him. The Lord is dealing with the lowly, with the meek. So you can see somebody that look like they this great person, and it says what? They're so much more behind. Then you got the one that's in the low estate. All right? And that's who the Lord is dealing with, man. All right?
Yeah, they should just like, well, how are they looking at yahawashi when he came? What were they saying? Oh, gluttonous? It said what? That he hangs around with publicans and sinners?
You know what? Since you said that, this is Isaiah 53. And I'm going to start at the top. Isaiah 53 and 1. Who hath believed our report? And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He have no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of the Most High, and afflicted. So Yahawashi came in the lowest state, man. All right, people. It said people they wouldn't that he was despised, man, rejected of men. They was looking at it with carnal eyes. All right, he didn't come all flashy and fly and just carnally with carnal eyes, looking raw as fuck. And he was despised because of that, man. So hey, that's how it works, man. But but guess what? Those who despise yahawashi and mock them and put them to death, hey, there's a judgment for that, man. Lest they repent, man. Same thing for his men. This is Lamentations 1:20. Behold, O Yahawah, for I am in distress. My bowels are troubled. My heart is turned within me. For I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword bereaveth. At home there is death. There is as death. So we sinned, man. So we dealing with, right? 21. They have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. Let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me for all my transgressions. For my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. Alright? So look, these heathens, these 2/3, they've been looking for the day, like it says, man, Jerusalem, thou which killest the prophets. They've been looking for our downfall, man. And look, we here. Like Micah said, we in a lower state. We got to deal with it, man. But look, the day is going to come when they're going to be brought down low, man. When they're going to be fucking judged, man. All right? And that revenge is going to be sweet, man.
Right. It says, what? Then shall they know that a prophet had been among them. They're going to realize, like, oh, shit, he was a man of the Lord.
That's right. Hey, that revenge is going to be so sweet. This is Psalms 58:10. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that a man shall say, verily there is reward for the righteous. Verily he is a power that judgeth in the earth. Alright? So we're going to rejoice, man. The Lord is going to execute judgment for us, man, like we read in Micah 7. Alright? Whether you've offended the men of the Lord in a big way or in a small way, man. Alright? Hey, guess what? You can say no to a man of the Lord, and that can bring judgment upon you, man. Yeah. Hey, this is Judges 8:6, and the princes of Succoth said, I'm gonna go pull it up. 8:5. This is Judges. So lock your head on the clipboard. I'm gonna go pull it up. And that don't mean amongst the brotherhood you can't say no, man. God,
Okay.
This is talking about some serious shit. This is Judges 8:5. He said unto the men of Succoth, give, I pray you, loaves of bread unto the people that follow me, for they be faint. And I am pursuing after Zebah and Zalmunna, kings of Midian. And the princes of Succoth said, are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in thine hand, that we should give bread unto thine army? And Gideon said, therefore when Yahawah have delivered Zebah and Zalmunna into my hand, then I will tear your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with briars. And he went up thence to Penuel and spake unto them likewise. And the men of Penuel answered him as the men of Succoth had answered him. So they said no too, like we ain't finna help you. And he spake also unto the men of Penuel, saying, when I come again in peace, I will break down this tower. Alright? So he told him, look, I came to ask y'all for help. Y'all said no. When I come back, I'm killing y'all. Gonna get put to death, man. Hey, that happened with King David. He went. He helped out that man's his servants. Khan, I'm trying to think of his name. Nabal, because it means fool, right? Khan. All right, and he said, no, I ain't finna help you, man. You did this. This ain't gonna help y'all out. Right. And King David said, look, man, I'm finna come. He came back to put all his house to death, his whole household, everything that pissed against the wall. All right, but Nabal's wife came out and and helped King David out, and she got mercy for that because she helped out. And then Nabal, the Lord put him to death. He died when he found out that his wife helped King David out. He had a heart attack. He got hit with a plague. It's worded weird. It could be a heart attack. The Lord jacked him up. Right. Just want to be careful. I want to, Right. So the Lord jacked him up for that, man. So you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful, very careful dealing with the men of the Lord, man.
Right, like the men of Sukkot that the brother just read, like you could be like, oh, they were just protecting themselves because they didn't know if they were gonna come back with them or not, and if they would have won, or if they would have lost, then they would have been in trouble with Siva and Saluma or whatever. But nah, hey, they just for them simply saying no, even if that was the case, the Lord's like, nah, you guys are gonna get destroyed.
That's right, man.
You should have just helped them out.
See, because look, he coming in the name of the Lord, and that's what it boils down to. This man's coming name Gideon is coming in the name of yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi. Well, he came in the name of Yahawah, but he had, like it says in Peter, the spirit of yahawashi was in him, man. Okay. So, hey, man, it's better the millstone hang to your neck than to offend one of the little ones, man.
Right. Hey, and it goes both ways, because like the brother was saying, every little act, even every little act of kindness, man. When like something small where it makes it, somebody, I don't know, might open the door for you or something. Some shit that this regular day people don't do.
Hey, what happened with it? Slack.
No, go ahead.
With Elijah, he ran to that woman. She's like, "Look, I'm finna make this last meal for my family, and then we're gonna starve to death because it was the famine." Elijah said, "Look, go take what you got, make my stuff first, and then your stuff will never run out. The Lord's gonna provide for you." She did that, and the Lord gave her a whole blessing on her household and a miracle. She survived through that famine because of that act of kindness. That one act of kindness, man.
Hey, in Joshua, the harlot.
Yep. She hit, Rahab.
Yep, just for hiding him. Just for hiding him, lying to the guys and keeping them safe. I said, what? She saved her and her father's household. And everything that they had.
So with that, hopefully it was edifying and a comfort to you, brethren, because really it's the comfort. Like, look, we're gonna get avenged, man. All right, we're gonna get avenged and revenged, man. The Lord got us. He's gonna let us get the taste of that sweet, sweet revenge, man. I hate to quote Tupac, 'cause I hate that nigga. All right, but he said, man, revenge is the sweetest joy next to getting pussy, man. And that's true, man. The first sweetest thing is the fear of the Lord, having this honey, this truth, this wisdom, and then you got pussy. Hey, a man loveth the continence, none cheer his heart better, and then you got revenge. Top 3 sweet things, man.
Right, there be 9 things I judge in my heart. It says what? One of them is what?
All kind, yeah.
To see the fall of his enemies before his eyes.
Kind. So we're gonna get. We can end it on that. You're right. That's a good precept, bro. Hell yeah. Sirach 27:7. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. Well is him that dwelleth with the wife of understanding, and that have not slipped with his tongue, and that have not served a man more unworthy than himself. All right, so yeah, man, like the brother Shakal said, that's a joy to live to see the fall of your enemy. Now, the Lord is showing us our enemy. Hey, the Lord is taking our enemies down right now. It's going to get even worse for these motherfuckers, man.
All right, hey, bro, just like King David. The Lord loved King David. That he subdued all his enemies before his eyes. It says what? That the Lord is going to give us our heart's desire, man. Hey, part of our heart's desire is they wanted, to see everybody who fucked us over get paid back, man.
Hey, through the Spirit, Job 22:18. Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it and are glad, and the innocent laugh them to scorn. So with that, all praises, honor, glory to Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, quadash. Double honors to the apostles and South Asian brothers doing this thing sincere, truth, and with charity, known as the hopeful elect. Shalom and a Baba.
Shalom, a Baba.
But the 2/3 of our people, if the blind lead the blind, they should both fall to a ditch.
Hey, I don't know if y'all. Hey, watch this, bro.
And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto other gods. And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned away from the Lord God of Israel, which appeared unto him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods.
Fucking devil.
But he kept not that which the Lord commanded. Wherefore, and the Lord commanded us, all right? It's a commandment. He didn't ask us to follow it. Can you please follow it? Maybe follow. He said he commanded. That's what the commandments are. So how you going to say the commandments are
you
done
can
away
keep
with that?
devils, right?
That's an oxymoron. The Father commanded
But
us, man,
Edomite,
to follow his law, statutes, commandments to the best of our ability, man.
look at that shit.
You know? Oh yeah, most secret societies and Satanists love Solomon's story and
No, so I
visions,
can
of
say
course.
Edom.
There's books called the Keys of Solomon, the books of Solomon. You know? Guess what? Solomon was
I can say
the
Edomite. What the fuck?
greatest warlock
Edomite.
because he dove into the left and right. Knowledge of understanding. You have to know both,
Hey, that shit
good and
crazy,
evil,
dude.
left and right.
All right. I'd like to start off by saying barak atha yahawah, bahasham yahawashi, bahasham quadash. Welcome to another live lesson. All right. The name of this one is History and the Scriptures. And pretty much through the spirit and power of yahawah, Lord's will, we can get through some of this history dealing with Alexander the Creep, which you call him Alexander the Creep, and you know, some of that Hellenistic history, you know, going back to the time of the Greeks and that beast that came up on the earth that was prophesied in the scriptures, and how, you know, Israel got a lot of Israelites got caught up into that whole madness of Hellenization. What you're looking at before you is a depiction of Alexander the Creep. Now, some people say he had blonde hair. Some paintings have him with black hair. It doesn't matter. He's just a character that existed, you know, in the past, that was used to fulfill prophecy. And even when you read in the Josephus, the account when he came into Jerusalem, he came in peaceably because he saw the priest in a vision with the name of the Most High, so he came peaceably. But after that, you know, and pretty much when the history of the Greeks, they allowed us to keep our law, statutes, commandments. You know, they didn't have a problem with that until Antiochus the Fourth Epiphany, who came through the Seleucid line, you know, of one of the generals of Alexander the Creep. So what we're going to do is, Lord's will, we're going to go into the book of Maccabees, because in one of the lessons Elder Apostle Tara did, he mentioned about somebody possibly going through First Maccabees or the book of Maccabees or something like that. If I can't really remember how the apostle worded it. So we're going to get through, you know, some of it. Maybe this will be in 2 parts, or maybe not, depending on the spirit. So let's just get to reading it, and then we'll get to give the sense of it. And I do remember a while back that brothers out in Dallas, they were doing breakdowns on the book of Maccabees, you know. So here it is. All right, First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1. It says, "And it happened after that Alexander son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece." So there's a whole lot in this one verse here, because first thing to mention is Alexander the Creep, or the Great, who was the son of Philip. You know, Philip was the king of Macedon. I believe he was Philip II, if I'm not mistaken. And Macedon, let's go to a map, is in Greece. It's not called Macedon today. I don't believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they changed it, but I could be wrong. Okay, North Macedonia. You got Albania over here. Bulgaria. So you have Macedonia in that region there, and that's where he was born. But this is, where Esau started to get into so-called Europe and take over those dark nations. Like you have the Etruscans, you have the Minoans, the Picts, and different other Japhetic nations that were dark-skinned people, brown-skinned people, that Esau pushed out of those lands, much like he does all over the world. How is it that people would be surprised that this devil will go somewhere and push the people out and take over their region and call himself by those regions when they're still doing it to this day? Why would you be so surprised about that? All right, so Macedonia being in Greece, and it says, son of Philip, who came out of the land of Chetam or Kittim. Now, you brothers that have been studying should know where the land of Kittim is, so put it on the comment board if you know where the land of Kittim is. What's the modern name today of Kittim? All right, and we're going to continue on, and I'll wait to see what brothers' responses are, and then I'll show you. It says, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. And Alexander's empire was very vast. It was one of the most vast empires, in the ancient world, that he had. He had conquered a lot of lands. He had conquered a lot of lands. Yep, the brother got it. It's Cyprus. I'm trying to see if I could find. I believe I had a picture. Yep, Cyprus. Yep, brothers got it right here. As you can see, Kittim. This is an island here called Cyprus. Today it's called Cyprus, and this is where he had came out of. He was living in Macedonia, or was born there, and I forget, the intricacies of how he got to Kittim. I don't know if he was sent there as a hostage or something like that, because you had a lot of that going on. Well, actually, it's the island here, Kittim, called Cyprus today. You could say south of Turkey, but not southern Turkey, because it's not in Turkey. It's this island right here. All right, so his empire was very vast. As a matter of fact, did I have that? I thought I had a. Maybe not. I thought I had a map of Alexander's empire. Let's see something. Macedonian map. What the fuck? Okay, Alexander. And I believe this is the map right here that shows his empire. You can see all of this empire here is what he conquered. And he was trying to go further, but his men like, man, fuck that, man. We went far enough. So he went far enough. And the reason why he was able to conquer all of this is because it was prophesied. He was the one, because his father Philip wanted to be the one to conquer all of this and conquer all his enemies. But he ended up getting assassinated by his bodyguard. So he never made it to gain whatever his son accomplished. Because why? Because it was prophesied. And that's why it says the first over Greece, because he was the first one to unite all of Greece, all of those Greeks, And at that particular time in the fight, at that particular time in prophecy, is what began something called Hellenization. Now, Hellenization Hellenism is the historical spread of ancient Greek culture, religion, and to a lesser extent language over foreign peoples conquered by Greeks or brought into their sphere of influence. And that's pretty much what it is. Because Esau, that's what he does. He pushes his philosophies, much like today. You look at democracy. Democracy is a thing of America, but they're pushing that democracy upon all these different nations. If you want to fly a plane, you must learn the English language. And a part of the Hellenization back then you had the Romanization. Today you have something called Americanization. A part of those achievements or accomplishments stem into the language that's spoken. And that's why if you want to fly a plane, you have to learn the English language if you want to do it, professionally anyway. Because there needs to be somebody that speaks the English language to be able to communicate, because that is the lingua franca of the earth or of flight, which is the common language for flight. It says, particularly during the Hellenistic period following the campaigns of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BC. The result of Hellenization was that elements of Greek origin combined in various forms and degrees with local elements, and these Greek influences spread from the Mediterranean basin as far east as modern-day Pakistan. In modern times, Hellenization has been associated with the adoption of modern Greek culture and the ethnic and cultural homogenization of Greece. And if you want to read up more on it, you could read up, the thing was right there. You could read up more on it if you want. I put this in the description box, so brothers want to click on it and, to go further into it, you can. And this is what happened with Jake. Jake got caught up into this Hellenization, because at one time, they were pushing it on people, but they really didn't really start pushing it on Jake really heavy until Antiochus IV Epiphany, which this chapter here goes into, because the scriptures in the Bible, they mention the Greek Empire, but they don't really go into detail of what took place and what was happening, and they really didn't go deep into the history. Like you have a lot of stuff on the Medo-Persian Empire, you have information and history on the Roman Empire, the Babylonian Empire, but really there's not much by way of the Greek Empire except for mentioning that they were part of the beast and mentioning certain particular things. But the Apocrypha goes deeper into that Greek history, the Hellenization period. So it says that Alexander, he was the first over Greece and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. Why? Because he was that third beast in the book of Daniel 7 that was to accomplish this. So a person can't do anything unless the Lord prophesied for that person to do it. Now, the intentions of an individual may be sincere, like Alexander, our father Philip, he wanted to be the guy to conquer everything, but he wasn't the guy in the prophecy to do it. It was his son. All right. Matter of fact, let's go here real quick. Kingdoms of successors of Alexander after the battle of Ipsus, which we're going to get back to this. BC 301. Alexander the Great, 356 to 323 BC, died suddenly at the age of 32. And there's conflicting, ways that he died. Some say by malaria, some say he was, he had, a disease and all kind of other stuff. But nevertheless, he dropped dead at age 32, leaving no apparent heir or appointed successor. Some 40 years of you know what, let me hold on to this, because we still got what you call it, got a little bit of reading to do before we can actually get to this particular article. But pretty much, Alexander the Creep, he came in, and they said that the legend was that there was a eagle perched on their housetop or something like that, and that because the eagle is supposed to represent Zeus, and that eagle transformed into Zeus, had sex with his mother, and that's how he was born. And so he's born as a man / god. That was the legend. But the eagle did perch up, on their home or near their home, something like that, as the story goes. So he was the man in the scriptures that was supposed to be the successor, or the one to bring forth that this prophecy. So we got Daniel 8:10. It says, "The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia, and that was the second beast, or the second empire. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king." And that's Antiochus. I'm sorry, and that's Alexander the Greek. All right, that's Alexander the Creep. So he was the first one to rule, and so Philip couldn't do it because he wasn't the guy that was in the prophecy. It was Alexander, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up, right? Because no one could stop him. He was conquering so much that no one could stop him. No one could get in this man's way. Why? Because the Spirit of the Lord was upon him to do these things, because he was the man, to fulfill that prophecy. Just like George Washington. It was said of George Washington that, and they're devils. We're just giving out the history. It was said of George Washington that one of the chiefs of Mungad said that the gods had to be looking out for him because he had expert men that were expert with the bow, shooting arrows at him, and they couldn't get him. So that just shows you how the Spirit of the Lord works. And for him to conquer all of this region, Salakia, for him to conquer all of this region here, he had to have the Spirit of the Lord upon him. And that's why each kingdom that came after, they were prophesied. That's why they were successful in what they did, because the Spirit of the Lord was upon them to do that. All right, so now let me bring this back here just in case I need it again. So reading on, it says, "And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And in doing that, he pushed what was known as Hellenization," which we read about Hellenization, when they pushed that. And Jake got caught all up in that, man. It says, "And after these things, he fell sick," right? Because he conquered, about 12 years. And around the age of, he had got sick, and around the age of 32, dropped dead. Why? To fulfill the second part of the prophecy, which we're going to get to. "And perceived that he should die, whereupon he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive." All right, so now let's go to this little bit of info here. It says, "Alexander the Great, 356 to 323 BC, died suddenly at the age of 32, leaving no apparent heir or appointed successor. Some 40 years of internecine conflict followed his death, as leading generals and members of Alexander's family vied to control the different parts of the vast empire he had built. The Battle of Ipsus, fought in Phrygia, Asia Minor, present-day Turkey, in 301 BC between rival successors, resulted in the empire's irrevocable dissolution. This late 19th century map in Latin shows the 4 main kingdoms that emerged after the battle. And you brothers could click on that if you want when you get a chance. The kingdom of Cassander, which was one of his generals, circa 356 to 297 BC, consisted of Macedonia, most of Greece, and parts of Thrace. So that's what he ruled. That's the part of Alexander's empire that he ruled. He ruled Macedonia, most of Greece, and parts of Thrace. And like I said, you could go on the map just to see where those places are exactly. The kingdom of Lysimachus, which was another one of his generals, because he had many generals, but there was 4 main generals who his kingdom was parted to. All right, so you got Lysimachus, which they have a
Lysimachus.
They got a little pronunciation. Circa 361 through 281 BC, included Lydia, Ionia, Phrygia, and other parts of present-day Turkey. So that's what he conquered, because there were infightings going on. the kingdom of Seleucus, which was another one of Alexander's generals. This is where he ruled, and this is the line on which Antiochus Epiphanes, or as they say, Antiochus Epiphanes, came through. It says, died 281 BC. Later, the Seleucid Empire comprised present-day Iran, Iraq, Syria, and parts of Central Asia. And they were constantly fighting for some of these regions. The kingdom of Ptolemy I, died 283 BC, included Egypt and neighboring regions. The map, and that's pretty much it. You know, you could read the rest. There ain't really much left. But these are the 4 generals in whom the kingdom was parted. As it says, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. And this is also something that's spoken of. I was trying to find, I had the verse already. Oh, here we go. Daniel 8:8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And for it, the great horn, meaning Alexander, was broken because he died. And for it came up 4 notable ones towards the 4 winds of heaven, because out of all his generals, it was really mainly 4 of them that really parted the vast part of his kingdom, you know. And that's what this is talking about, you know. So now let's go back. It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, and we read the 4 generals, the main 4 generals, because you had more, but those are the main 4 that really parted those kingdoms. So did their sons after them many years. So once Alexander the Great died and his generals took over, them and their sons reigned after them. It says, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Why? Because they are the wicked. They are Edomites. See? And the last kingdom to be ruling on the planet would be the kingdom of the Edomites. And that's, you know, biblical prophecy, which these wacky-tacky Christians don't like to deal with. Now, they're dealing with the Apocrypha now. As to one time, you know, they would argue with us and curse us out about using a book that wasn't dogma or canonized or accepted, you know, as a real book or whatever the case is. Now they're using it, which shows you the hypocrisy of these Christians, you know, especially vocab no class Malone, you know. It says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus surname Epiphanes, and this is Antiochus the 4th, son of Antiochus the king, which is Antiochus the 3rd, who had been a hostage of Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. So this is also prophecy, because when we go back to Daniel 8 and 9, and out of one of them came forth a little horn, and this is dealing with Antiochus Epiphanes. And out of one of them, meaning one of those 4 generals, and that was the Seleucid line, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. And this is what he did. You know, it says, yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And that's what he did. You know, he destroyed the temple. This was the devil that did it. This is why today we're I could say worship, but we keep a high holy day called Hanukkah, which is the Feast of Lights or the Feast of Dedication, because that was when the Maccabees came in and pretty much destroyed these devils and pretty much reestablished the temple. They rededicated it because it was destitute. You know, it was polluted, so they had to tear it down and build it back up. And that's when it took place, and that's why we keep the Feast of Dedication or the Feast of Lights. It says, and an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And this is the only reason why he was able to do that, because we were going off. So that was the Lord's punishment upon us. and they cast down the truth to the ground, and they practiced and prospered. And we read about this here in this book, because here it's saying what he was going to do. It's saying that this particular, this king of Greece was going to do this, and his kingdom was going to do that, and this individual was going to do this, but it doesn't mention any names. Here it mentions names, and it goes into detail of what took place. So then when this whole thing went down, and the desecration of the temple took place, that's where you get the Hellenization, or the Greek Israelite, that lost their way, because in these times Antiochus Epiphanes wanted everything under a one world government, one world rulership underneath the Greeks, or the Hellenization of the world at the time. And that was the order and the decree, or the law, that was put in place or written in place by Antiochus IV Epiphanes. That's why we read in verse 41, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. It says, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. See, so you had these nations that agreed, because when we read about the Greek, it's a general term. It could be someone that was actually a Greek, on the mainland, but this Hellenization also applied to all other nations also. But when we read in the New Testament about those Greeks whose salvation was given to, those were the Israelites that fell away from their power during this Hellenization period, that were being brought back in and being cleansed, or being converted, or being reconciled back to the Most High, because the other nations were never a part of this. And no matter what you do, like, you'll go into scriptures like Jeremiah 31 and Hebrews the 8th chapter, and that's ironclad that it's only dealing with the nation of Israel. But then they'll know, well, that really wasn't just dealing with the Israelites. It was dealing with pretty much, as Apostle Elder Tahar said, adding to the scriptures. Say, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. And that's what they did. It says, for the king had sent letters by messengers, because this was the law back then of Antiochus Epiphanes, the Greek, or the Edomite that called himself Greek, unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah. So it was a order, a demand, a decree, a law that he sent to Israel back then, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. See? Because he was in rulership at the time. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festivals days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy temple, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable, with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law, and change all the ordinances. And this is why Jake fell away, because there was a period of time where it was not lawful, according to the law of Antiochus Epiphanes, to even call yourself an Israelite, a Jew. 2 Maccabees 6:6, it says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So if you couldn't call yourself a Jew, what did you have to call yourself? A Greek. Hence, you get scriptures in the New Testament of, let's get this one real quick. I believe that's Galatians 3, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, no, Romans 10. Romans 10 and 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. And what is the quick answer to that? Why is there no difference between the Jew and the Greek? Because they're both Israelites. It's just that one was circumcised and keeping the laws, and the other one was uncircumcised and not keeping the law. But during the time when Yahawashi came and sacrificed himself, he did it first for the ones that knew they were Israelites in Jerusalem, beginning with Judah, and then it spread out to the rest of the Israelites that were scattered abroad. They were dispersed. And this is why the Apostle James mentioned a greeting to the 12 tribes that were scattered abroad greeting. Why? Because they were being brought back from that scattering, because that was a part of the prophecy and promise that the Lord said that even though we were scattered, he was going to bring us back. Matter of fact, let's go from there to the book of I believe that's Nehemiah, the 1st chapter and the 8th verse. Remember, I beseech thee, the words that thou commandest thy servant Moses, saying, if ye transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations. And this happened to us. This is why you have a term called the diaspora. And what is the diaspora? The diaspora is the dispersion or dispersing of the nation of Israel from the land of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians from that land, dispersed out to live among these nations. And what did the Lord say? When you go among these nations, you're not going to have any ease. You're going to serve wood and stone. And pretty much we made ourselves corrupted. We corrupted ourselves. Let's go real quick to Hosea chapter 8. 8 and 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles, the nations, as a vessel wherein is no pleasure, because the Lord turned his back on us, because we pretty much became degenerates, like the scriptures say. You know, we went from being the holy people of the Lord to becoming unclean, you know, to becoming like the heathen, you know, and that's what happened. And this is what the scriptures mean in the New Testament about the nations or the Greeks, you know, or Gentiles coming back or being brought into this thing. But no matter how many times we go into it and prove it, these wacky-tacky Christians don't want to hear that, because it goes against their status quo. It goes against what they were taught in these different colleges, you know. And seeing that they spent all that money, you know, they can't allow, you know, the truth really to come out, because it goes against everything that they were taught, and everything that they were taught is wrong. You see? But to try to save face, that's why they do it. So going back to Nehemiah 1 and 9, but if you turn unto me, after I scatter you among the nations, after you become unclean, after you forget your way, after you forget your laws, which we read in 1 Maccabees, after you forget your nationality, your language, your customs, your high holy days, if you turn unto me and keep my commandments, which was also a prayer that King Solomon made for us. When you read 1 Kings the 8th chapter, and I believe it's 2 Chronicles the 6th chapter. No, it goes into that, because eventually we lost our way. We became degenerates. We became like the other nations. So if we keep the Lord's commandment, turn unto him, keep his commandments. So if we turn unto him, meaning what? Return. That's what the Lord says that. What is that? Jeremiah 3. Jeremiah 3 and 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. So the Lord is pleading with us to return, to turn back. So how can you return to something that you were never a part of? You know, let me see. Okay. That's a bad one right here. Hosea 3 and 5. Afterward, matter of fact, let's go there real quick. The 4th verse. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. In other words, we were going to be totally lost. And we're going to read that again in 1 Maccabees. Afterward shall the children of Israel return, and seek the Lord their power, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days. And this is where we're at. We're in the latter days now. We're in the time of the great awakening.
You know, we're in a time where the dry bones are getting that flesh, you know, and sinews and all that put back on them, you know, with the proper breath in us. And these nations, like their manner is, when you go back in history, their manner was always to come against us and try to stop the work of the Lord. You know, it says that they that persecute us, something like that, will think that they do the Lord's work, and they're not. Just like when you go back during the time of, what was happening during the time of Zerubbabel and Joshua? There was a rebuilding of the physical temple, you know, going on. And the heathen came to what? To disrupt it. Talking about, we want to join with you, we want to help build. Man, the fuck out of here. You ain't a part of this. Pretty much that's what Zerubbabel and the Joshua and the elders told them, heathens, to get kick rocks. You know? And they, what did they do? They went to the king to write letters to stop the building of, you know? So it's always a hindrance. So today we're building, through the spirit of yahawah, we're building the temple, the third temple, you know, spiritually, which we are that third temple. You know, many scriptures that go into that. And they're trying to stop it by way of what? By inserting their bullshit plantation Christianity, that lame understanding of that plantation Christianity, to try to draw away the people of Israel that's coming back to yahawah. But they don't understand that even in doing that, they're doing the work of the Lord, because there are a certain amount of Israelites out there that the Lord does not want, and He's going to allow them to fall for the okie doke. You know, He's going to allow them to fall for these different potholes and pitfalls and snares and traps that are being laid out there by these different religions, especially plantation Christianity. That plantation Christianity, which is a broad way, is leading a lot of people to destruction, to perdition, you know, and that destruction is going to come by way of the nuclear missiles. That is that lake of fire that is spoken of in the scriptures, you know. So now let's go back to Nehemiah. But if you turn unto me and keep my commandments and do them, though they were of you cast out unto the uttermost part of the heaven, yet will I gather them from thence, and will bring them unto the place that I have chosen to set my name there. So this is the Lord bringing them back, bringing the Israelites back, and causing them to be converted or return back to the Lord. Let's go real quick to Isaiah chapter 6. I'm going to show you something. Isaiah chapter 6 verse 9. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Because although the words that we're speaking are the words of Yahawah, and we're given the proper understanding through the Spirit, and we believe that through faith, these people out here, these Israelites out here, are not going to get it. Why? Because there is a curse on them not to get it. It's a blessing to be able to see this truth and to be able to understand it and to be able to teach it, you know, and to be able to for the Lord Yahawah to sup with us. But there's a lot of Israelites out there that can't get it, and they won't get it. Why? Because there is a blockage. There's actual spirit, an actual angel, you know, that's there, that's actually blocking them from hearing these words, so that they can't turn back to the Lord. It says, make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and what? And convert, and be healed. See? So in other words, when the prophets were out there cursing Israel out, it's because they were going off doing something wrong. And what the prophet's job was to do was to tell them, look, you better turn back to the Lord, man, or the Most High going to put his foot sideways up your ass. In so many words. You know? Isaiah 50:81, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. For what? So that they could return back and leave off from their wickedness. All right? So it says that if they would to hear with their ears, see with their eyes, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed. So now what is this word convert here? The word convert is the Hebrew word shawab, which means to return, turn back. So how can you return to something you were never a part of? How can you be reconciled to someone that you don't even know, to someone that never had a relationship with you? And that's why in the other lesson we covered the woman. Scripture, the Apostle Paul told a woman, look, wives, do not depart from your husband, but if you do depart, remain unmarried. Or, on the other hand, be reconciled to your husband. Be brought back into the good graces of your husband. So we're being brought back into the good graces of our husband, which is yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi. You see? So how can you return or be reconciled back to something that you were never a part of? And this is something that we speak about constantly. You know, I mean, even that history, brother. You know, brothers don't got a lesson to do a lesson on that history of Ezra, the 4th chapter. You know how them heathens were trying to get down with the building of the temple, and pretty much they got cursed out. You know, that's a topic right there. And I was meditating on that too. You know, like if brothers say they don't have a topic to go into, I watch videos, with apostles and elders and brothers, and sometimes I notice that we'll, through the Spirit, we'll throw out titles for lessons, give out, certain breakdowns that brothers will go into, So I mean, there's always something to go into. There's always something to teach. I mean, I know the Spirit has to hit us to go into a particular topic because the topics are vast. There's too many to name. And the Spirit has to be on you to actually go into that. But through the Spirit, like I said, there's times where brothers, mention, they'll give a title. That'll be a good title for a lesson. Or they'll give brothers can go into this chapter or that chapter, or they can go into the history of this or the history of that. Like this lesson here, it was inspired through the Spirit of yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, quadash, through a comment that Elder Apostle Tar made dealing with first Maccabees or the Maccabees. You see? And this book of First Maccabees, the first chapter, just the first chapter alone, goes into that whole history of how, Israel became uncircumcised, how they came to be in that stead. And this is why we read, as the Apostle Paul said, there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. Why? Because they're both Israelites. You see? It says, in those days, back in the first Maccabees 1:11, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well, because they were catching hell, and they wanted to get them goodies and benefits. And that's why when the time comes and they make that chip mandatory, a lot of jakes are going to take it. Why? Because they're going to want to have that comfort that they have right now. They're in a comfort zone, and they don't want to be uncomfortable. They like being in that comfort zone, but that comfort zone is an enemy. There has to be some kind of edge somehow, some way to keep that edge on you, to keep that edge on us. You see, because comfort is an enemy. Then certain of the people were so forward hearing that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. It says, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. And this shows you, man, that the Spirit is beautiful, man. Spirit is beautiful, man. Beautiful, man. Because the brother came in right on time. I asked the brother earlier, right? This was around 10:40 a.m. and now here it is 1:18 a.m. and I'm getting ready to go into the part where I asked the brother about, and he sent me the information. It is beautiful. It shows you how the Spirit works, man. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so it says, then certain of the people were so whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the custom of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised. That shows you, man. You can't, man. The Spirit is always on time, man. It's just amazing. And because I know that the brother has sent me this information before, when they made themselves uncircumcised, you could use it twofold, that they lost their way, they started being like the heathens. But what this really means is that the men took the foreskin and put a foreskin back on their penis to appear uncircumcised, because the reason why they did that is because you would fight in a gymnasium butt naked, or you would do the Olympics or whatever, butt naked, and that's what the word Jim means, naked. So they had to have the semblance of being uncircumcised. So they sewed it back on, but there's a actual term, but I couldn't think of it, and it's called epispasm. All right, epispasm. When you look it up, and like I said, I couldn't remember the name of it, and the brother just sent it to me just before I went into that. So you have epispasm, foreskin restoration, which is epispasm, which is the name of it, or what Esau calls it today. I said this non-surgical. Well, you have different ways. You have surgical and non-surgical. So back then, I'm pretty sure it was surgical, the way they put it. In the Greco-Roman world, intact genitals, including the foreskin, were considered a sign of beauty, civility, and masculinity. Foreskin restoration is of ancient origin and dates back to the reign of the Roman Emperor Tiberius, when surgical means were taken to lengthen the foreskin of individuals born with either a short foreskin that did not cover the glands completely, or a completely exposed glands as a result of circumcision. And this is what happened to Israel. Israel was circumcised because that was the law. So that's why they had to put the foreskin back on their penis to make it seem like they were uncircumcised. In classical Greek and Roman societies, exposure of the glands was considered gross and improper, and did not conform to the Hellenistic ideal of gymnastic nudity. All right, it says men with short foreskins would wear the kinodismy to prevent exposure. As a consequence of this social stigma, an early form of foreskin restoration known as epispasm was practiced among some Jews in ancient Rome. See, and that's exactly what it is. That's what they did. They sewed the foreskin back on their Johnson. That's going into something else now. The devil's always trying to insert them rats. All right, so let's go back. It says, and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. So what were they calling themselves? They were calling themselves Greeks. And this is why in the New Testament it says there's no difference between a Jew and a Greek. And in some places where it speaks about the Gentiles, when you go back to the Greek, is the word Helen, which means the Greek. Such as the case as in the book of St. John 7:35, where it speaks about will he go to the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles. The word that should be there is Greeks. And there were many more nations than just Greeks. How do we know that? When we read the scriptures, it gives us all different types of nations. So why did it just focus on the Greeks? Remember, this is the Roman Empire. So why did it just focus on the Greeks? Because you had Israelites in the history that forsook the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord and followed the customs of these nations and became uncircumcised. And they were disdained. They were looked down upon. So much so that it was an insult for the Israelites to call another Israelite uncircumcised or a heathen. Like when they try to insult yahawashi, and them wicked Pharisees and them call him a Samaritan. No, that was like one of the lowest things you could call somebody back then. It says, now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of two realms. Because remember, you had the kingdom that was divided. You had his realm, which was up here, in Syria and these regions here. And then down here in Egypt and in this part of some of these other adjoining lands was given to Ptolemy and the Ptolemaic Empire. And there was constant battles. Ptolemy sometimes would win Syria, and then sometimes the Seleucid Empire would win parts of Egypt, so on and so forth. They were constantly fighting over these land regions, or these regions. It says, wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude and chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy. And this is what happened when he went to go fight to get this land. What happened was he was defeated, and that's what led him to that anger, in that anger state of mind, to go into Jerusalem and ransack it. So the Spirit of the Lord frustrated his venture so that he can accomplish the prophecy of tearing down the nation of Israel at the time, because he had to fulfill prophecy. So the Lord caused this to happen to him and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt, but Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. Salak, I misspoke on that. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt. He returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. Yeah, because he did win some battles, but then other battles he lost. Because when we go, just bear with me 1 second. All right, is this it, or is it? No, that was that. Okay. Antiochus IV Epiphanes was a Hellenistic king of the Seleucid Empire from 175 BC until his death in 164 BC. He was the son of King Antiochus III the Great. His original name was Mithridates. He assumed the name Antiochus after he ascended the throne. Notable events during reign of Antiochus IV Epiphanes include his near conquest of Egypt. See, he conquered certain parts of it, but then he didn't get a chance to conquer all of it. And this is and in the Apocrypha, it didn't really go into every specific detail. It says his persecution of the Jews of Judea and Samaria and the rebellion of the Jewish Maccabees. And this is one of the things that led to that. Now let's go here. War against Egypt. It says the guardians of King Ptolemy VI Philometor demanded the return of Holy Syria in 170 BC, but Antiochus launched a preemptive strike against Egypt, conquering all but Alexandria and capturing King Ptolemy. To avoid alarming Rome, Antiochus allowed Ptolemy VI to continue ruling as a puppet king. Upon Antiochus' withdrawal, the city of Alexandria chose a new king, one of Ptolemy's brothers, also named Ptolemy VIII Euergetes. The Ptolemy brothers agreed to rule Egypt jointly instead of fighting a civil war. In 168 BC, see, this is when the temple was about to be desecrated. Antiochus led a second attack on Egypt and also sent a fleet to capture Cyprus. Before he reached Alexandria, his path was blocked by a single elderly Roman ambassador named Gaius Popilius Laenas, and this is where you get that term, draw the line in the sand, who delivered a message from the Roman Senate directing Antiochus to withdraw his armies from Egypt and Cyprus, or consider himself in a state of war with the Roman Republic. And back then, the Roman Republic, they were kicking ass. Antiochus said he would discuss it with his council, whereupon the Roman envoy drew a line in the sand around Antiochus and said, "Before you leave this circle, give me a reply that I can take back to the Roman Senate." This implied Rome would declare war if the king stepped out of the circle without committing to leave Egypt immediately. Weighing his options, Antiochus decided to withdraw. Only then did Popilius agree to shake hands with him. And this is what caused that anger, the persecution of the Jews. The Seleucids, like the Ptolemies before them, held a mild suzerainty. Yeah, I didn't look it up, but I guess that's when a state or a kingdom allows other peoples that they conquer to still keep and observe their laws and customs. Over Judea, they respected Jewish cultures and protected Jewish institutions. The policy was drastically reversed by Antiochus IV, resulting in harsh persecutions and revolt against his rule, the Maccabean revolt. And that's what brought about the Maccabean revolt. And when you read about the Maccabees, really the Maccabees was just a surname that was given to Judas. Judas Maccabees. He was the only one that had that name, but then the name eventually came to signify all of that family. But it was really just a surname that was given to Judas, because he was a great warrior. And he used to hammer his foes. He used to hammer his enemies. All right. So now going back, it says, and entered proudly into the sanctuary. So after that, he entered proudly into the sanctuary, took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof. and the table of the shewbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. And this was all because, it was prophesied, and when we went off, the Lord allowed this devil to do all of this. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoken very proudly. Therefore there was a great mourning in Israel in every place where they were. And this is what caused that. You see? And it was prophesied that this particular individual of this Seleucid line was the one to fulfill this prophecy. And you brothers can go and you could look up Antiochus Epiphanes on your own, and you could go through some of the history, and you could see where in different things that he did and how he burned down the temple. Because there's another tab that I had that I believe I got rid of because there was another one that I had got rid of that kind of went into it, and it pretty much gave a reference to oh, here it goes. Gave a reference to the Josephus, And matter of fact, I didn't really read this one, but this is right here, down here is where they got the account in the Josephus of what took place. So I'll put this in the comment section of the live chat, and brothers could go to in there, if they want, and just save it for later. All right, so going back, let's see, verse 26. So that the prince and elders mourned, the virgins and young men were made feeble. It says, and the beauty of women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. And the Spirit is on me right now to say that this is going to be something similar to what's going to happen today. You're going to have Jake is going to be in that festive spirit, and all of a sudden, all hell's going to break loose. And then they're going to, that joy and that festive spirit they got is going to turn into mourning. And it's going to turn into wanting to get right, so to speak, to be in the good graces of the Lord, but it's going to be too late. And this is why the Lord said that, man. Let's go to Hosea 5:15. Excuse me. Hosea 5:15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. So Jake is going to want to seek the Lord early, but what do the scriptures say? When the Lord gave his counsel, when he gave his word, you pushed the word away, you made fun of his word, you made fun of his prophets. So guess what? The Lord's going to make fun of you when you're in that calamity, when you're in that jacked up state, when you're screaming and howling and being nervous and hungry and all of that. You're going to want to get down with the program, but you're not going to be able to, because the Lord is going to allow these devils to bust you down. The scriptures say that they bear not the sword in vain, and you best believe that, man. These devils don't bear that sword in vain, man. That was a gift, a blessing that was given to them, and they use it